at 1-646-558-8656. Webinar ID is 850-5291-7560. If password is required, contact alucas at newhavencity.gov. Again, that's ALUCAS at NEWHAVENCT.gov. Item 1, LM-2020-0157. And this is order concerning real property taxes of Juan Marcano on his motor vehicle tax account number 82353, 82400, 546452, 546453, 546454, 546455, 546456, 546457, and 584107. Second item, to hold a workshop for a briefing with the financial empowerment team for the Board of Auditors. If you need a disability-related accommodation, please call 3 business days in advance at 203-946-8122 or 203-946-8582 Again, this meeting can be viewed at https://bit.ly/2Y6VW41 or by phone at 1-646-558-8656. And the webinar ID is 850-5291-7560. And if password is required, please contact alucas at newhavencity.gov. Thank you very much for attending this afternoon, and I would like to now go around and recognize the committee members as well as the visiting alders. So if you can just state your name and where is the district that you represent. Let's start with Alder Roth.
Abby Roth, Ward 7.
Thank you. Alder Santiago.
Ernie Santiago, Ward 15.
Alder Douglas.
Alder Frank Douglas, Ward 2.
Alder Rodriguez.
Alder Rodriguez, Ward 6.
And Mr. Majority Leader, Alder Furlow. So I would like to thank everyone that is in attendance for item 1. Do we have the gentleman who's going to be presenting before us?
Don't know unless this is Mr. Marcano. I don't know if this is Marcano. 850. Can you let us know who you are?
Juan Marcano.
Okay, very good. Very good. Mr. Marcano, thank you for joining us. If you can just state your name and address for the record, please.
Juan Marcano, 25 Ward Street, apartamento 201, New Haven, Connecticut.
Thank you very much, Mr. Marcano. And I have read your comments regarding your request, so I would just like for you to go ahead and state your case, please.
Can you say it in Spanish because I know too much English?
Definitivamente. Buenas tardes, gracias por participar de nuestro comité. Yo leí los comentarios inconcernientes a lo que usted estaba pidiendo, pero queremos que usted haga su argumento en concerniente a la ayuda que usted está pidiendo esta noche. So, si usted la quiere decir en español y yo lo traduzco en inglés para el comité.
Oh, sí, fue que alguien cogió mi información de mi seguro social y de mi fecha de nacimiento y empezó a registrar carros a mi nombre.
Okay, pausa. So for the committee's benefit, the gentleman just stated that someone took the date of birth as well as his social security and started registering cars under his name. Continúe, por favor.
Y no lo sabía. Y cuando yo voy al City Hall en el 2017, salió esos papeles como que yo tenía todos esos carros registrados.
Un segundo. For the committee's benefit, the gentleman went to the City Hall, and in 2017, he discovered that he had all these vehicles registered under his name, but he was not aware of that. Continúa, por favor.
Y entonces, pues, yo tenía un Mazda Protege y entonces le pusieron, se lo llevó la grúa y no sabía por qué. Entonces, cuando se lo llevó la grúa era porque debía un 1,800 algo de tase.
Un segundo. So I had my car, I had a Mazda Protege, and then the tow truck, the tow company took it away. They towed it away, and I wasn't aware why they did that. And I discovered that there was an outstanding balance of about $1,809, and that's when I realized that those accounts were open. Continúa, por favor.
Entonces, para poder sacar el carro, tuve que pagarle el dinero ese. Más me dieron unos tickets que yo, a mí nunca me da un ticket y tuve que pagar 500 y pico más por encima para poder sacar el carro.
Okay, un segundo. So once I realized that all these accounts were open, in order for me to get the car out of the towing company's yard, I had to pay not only those particular vehicles taxes, but some additional tickets were accrued as on top of the $1,800 that I had to pay, and I had to do all that in order for me to just get my car back. Continúa, por favor.
Entonces yo tuve que pagar ese dinero y entonces en el primer piso me dijeron que subiera que me podían ayudar en un programa para poder reembolsarme el dinero. Y entonces yo lo pagué porque yo necesitaba el carro también. Pero
so I realized that I needed to at first I had to pay those tickets and all the different accounts because I needed to use the vehicle. And so I was informed that I can go to the second floor at City Hall where I can talk to someone that can assist in trying to get the money back and get reimbursed for those particular accounts. Continúa, por favor.
Y yo había hecho un reporte en la policía para que me chequearan todo eso. Entonces, cuando me lo pidieron en el primer piso, yo lo llevé, pero que ellos dicen que no había mucha, ¿cómo se llama eso? Información, que el guardia no había chequeado nada. Y yo estaba esperando que el guardia chequeara algo para saber quién era que tenían los carros esos registrados a nombre mío.
Okay, un segundo. So I immediately went to the police department to file a report, but I was told once I tried to file that report that there was not sufficient evidence or sufficient information, rather, for anything to come about because the gentleman was trying to discover who was the person that was fraudulently using his information to create those accounts for his vehicle, but unfortunately the officers weren't able to provide him with a police report. Continúa, por favor.
Y entonces, pues ahí yo subí al segundo piso, yo le llevé, tú sabes, el pago que yo hice de todos los carros y de los tickets que me dieron. Entonces ellos me pidieron el reporte de la policía, yo se lo di. Esta tarde me lo pidieron y yo se lo mandé por email para que recibiera el papel de reporte para que tuvieran evidencia como que yo hice el papel de reporte.
Okay. So the gentleman submitted the evidence this afternoon, or the report, or the attempt to submit the report this afternoon via mail, and he wanted to state that for the record. Continúa.
Y ese es todo.
And that's pretty much the case. So, ¿qué usted necesita de nosotros para yo poder entonces de tomar en consideración y el comité tomar en consideración qué es lo que usted está pidiendo? Ya usted plantó su caso, ya usted pudo plantear que usted sometió o intentó de someter una querella en concerniente a estos casos fraudulentos. ¿Cuál es qué es lo que usted está pidiendo de este comité? Pero antes de que usted conteste, déjame interpretar. So as the chair, I'm asking this gentleman, what is it that you now want for the committee to do? What do you want us to consider? Now that you stated your case, you stated your evidence, what exactly are you asking this body, this committee to do on your behalf? Continúa, por favor.
Sí, a ver si puedo recuperar aunque sea algo de lo que pagué de los taxes.
So I want to know if there's anything that I can get back, if there's anything that I can receive in reimbursement of the taxes that I paid. Y eso sería todo. Simplemente un reembolso de los taxes que has pagado.
Exacto.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm requesting to get back if there's anything that you can give me back regarding the payments that I made for these different vehicles.
Sí, porque si fuera mío, yo no tengo tú sabes, que me lo reembolsen porque es mío. Yo respondo por lo mío, pero automáticamente pues, cogieron mi información y pues empezaron a registrar el carro a mi nombre.
So if those were my vehicles, I would certainly say you don't have to reimburse me anything because those are my vehicles. But unfortunately, none of the cars are mine, and I'm paying for taxes of cars that I'm not even having under me. They're not mine. So that's pretty much what he's stating. ¿Algo más que usted quiera añadir, caballero?
No, eso es todo.
Okay. So that's all that he has to add. There's nothing further he's going to add. So I'm going to just let the gentleman know that he can either remain in hearing, and then at the end of the committee, we'll certainly make a decision. But of course, I'm going to open it up now to the committee to ask questions. Caballero, so antes de que yo lo deje ir, usted se puede quedar, pero déjame entonces abrir para que el comité haga comentarios o preguntas en concerniente a su caso.
Ok.
So I would like to recognize Alder Santiago.
Papá, Ernie Santiago, asambleísta del Distrito 15.
Ajá.
Ok. ¿Desde cuándo usted vive en esa dirección?
This is Ernie Santiago. Un segundo. This is Ernie Santiago.
Sorry,
And I just want to ask. No, you're good, brother. I want to ask, how long have you been living in the same place?
Yo estuve viviendo, ahora mismo estoy en 25 de Wall Street, pero cuando yo viví aquí en New Haven, Connecticut, yo estaba viviendo con mi esposa en el Christopher Green, y yo en el 8B de Christopher Green, y después de ahí yo me fui para Puerto Rico, y eso fue en el 2000, en el 2002 o 2001 yo me mudé con ella ahí.
So I was living in a particular place, and then I moved with my wife in 2001, 2002.
Y me fui para Puerto
and then I went to Puerto Rico to reside over there.
¿Qué año te fuiste a Puerto Rico?
En el 2011.
What year did you go to Puerto Rico? I went to Puerto Rico in 2011.
Okay, so you were here 2001, 2011. Now I gotta ask Don Hayden one question, because I see here the information and I don't see any years for the cars.
Neither do I.
You said the tax year, it just said the model.
Instead of the tax year, I also see just the names of the models and make of the vehicles.
Right.
So that is certainly some useful information that we need.
Mira, dile al muchacho que es lo que estamos preguntando.
So, caballero, lo que estamos haciendo ahora es, como tenemos el documento de los carros que está con una cuenta bajo su nombre, queremos saber cuáles son los años que estuvieron establecidos para tener una mejor idea de cuándo sucedió los actos de fraude en concerniente a su caso.
Pues yo le estoy explicando que yo estuve desde el 2001.
Sí.
Vamos a ponerle el 2001 mi nena nació en junio 11, como en junio, julio, en agosto. Yo me mudé en agosto de 2001 con mi esposa en el Christopher Green hasta el 2011.
So in August of 2001, I moved with my wife because that was when my daughter was born, and I stayed there till 2011 with my wife.
Ay, papi, mira, papi, eso no es lo que estamos, ya nosotros oímos eso y te oímos. Lo que él te está diciendo es que los documentos que nosotros tenemos aquí no dice los años que los carros tuvieron registrados. Y no es cuando tú viviste, en los años que tuvieron registrados. Okay, ¿tú quieres traducir o lo hago yo?
So Ernie Santiago is pretty much letting the gentleman know that we're now trying to ascertain the years of the particular vehicles and when they were registered in order for us to make a decision so that he can understand. We understand that you already told us the information of where you were living. Now we have to find out when were the years the vehicles registered.
Okay, Dan, do you have the information yet or no?
No, I don't. I've got it, but unfortunately it's in the office.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So
is there anybody from that department? Any tax assessor or tax department personnel present?
I don't believe so.
No.
Okay.
I'll check that on your desk, Don.
Yeah, it's in his file and there's a list of the different years.
Okay. I'll take a look.
Okay.
So, Juan.
Ajá.
Entonces, tú nada más has tenido el Protege, no has tenido otro carro.
No, yo tenía el Protege, la Nissan Quest y ahora y el Dodge Caravan, pero de ahí para allá yo no he tenido más carros, y las direcciones que salen en todos esos carros, yo nunca en mi vida he vivido en esas direcciones.
Sí, pues nosotros no tenemos esa información aquí, además lo que tenemos es limitado y incorrectos. So, okay, guys, go ahead.
So, thank you, Alder Santiago. So, caballero, usted dijo que usted tuvo el Mazda Protege.
Sí, el que tengo ahora.
Pero entonces,
He also said the Dodge, the just grab caravan, the second one.
El Dodge Caravan. Entonces viene siendo el Protege, el Dodge, pero yo veo otro Protege abajo.
Abajo, ya.
So, en sí, so tú tuviste que pagar por el Mazda Protege y la Dodge Caravan. Entonces los otros carros, la Chevy, la Honda, la Rally, la Volkswagen y Toyota Camry, Hyundai, todos esos no son.
Espérate, Mari, no son míos. Eso no son míos.
So, porque aquí hay 1, 2, 3, aquí hay 11 diferentes carros.
Exacto.
Que significa 3 de ellos son tuyos y el resto no son.
Exacto.
Ok, so tú me estás diciendo entonces que el Chevy no es tuyo, el Honda no es tuyo, el Rally no es tuyo, el Volkswagen no es tuyo, ni el Toyota ni el Hyundai, pero los otros 3 sí.
Sí, el único que es la Nissan, una Nissan, la que tengo yo ahora es la Nissan, ¿cuál? La que el Mazda Protege y
La Dodge Caravan.
La Dodge Caravan también era mía.
Ok, porque yo veo aquí 2 diferentes Mazda Protege y una Dodge, que significa que entonces si podemos entonces analizar los otros vehículos, podemos entonces hacer quizás algo para poder reembolsarte los de esos vehículos.
Okay.
So you want to translate?
No, you translate because I got one more question.
So basically, the conversation committee is that the gentleman is acknowledging that he had the Mazda Protege and the Dodge, but the other vehicles are not his. So for what I'm seeing from our document here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different cars or 8 entries that would not be something that he's liable, but the first and second and the last he will be liable for. So the 8811 taxes, the 11304 taxes, and the 7017 taxes, plus the interest would be his, and then the other ones would not be. Just for everybody to be on the same page.
Otra preguntita más, y como te repito, para ayudarte mejor hay que ser sincero, you know, para poder ayudarte mejor. Tú no le registraste carros a nadie, a tu hermano, a tu hermana, a tu primo, a tu amigo, y ellos te quedaron mal.
Un segundo, déjame interpretar.
Yeah.
So the question from Older Santiago to the gentleman, Mr. Marcano, is, so let's be realistic. Let's talk sincerely because we would like to help you. Let us know if by any chance did you inadvertently have someone else? Did you register your car for a friend, for a family member, for a loved one? Just be sincere with us. Dale, caballero.
Yo no, lo único que yo le he registrado es a mi esposa que vive conmigo y está todo el nombre de nosotros dos. De ahí para allá más nadie.
¿Qué carro fue?
La Dodge Caravan y la Nissan Quest.
So the only person that I actually registered a vehicle was for my wife, and they're under both our names, and that was the Dodge Caravan and the current Nissan that I have. Aside from that, I haven't registered the vehicle for anyone else.
Y más nada.
Perfecto.
I'm done for now. Thank you.
Yep,
Ya,
thank you.
por ahora no tengo más nada.
So I will have, I believe, Alder Douglas. Did you have a question?
Yes, I do. So if you could ask the gentleman, was there any other suspicious activity that he found to be attached to this fraud, to this identity theft? Just curious, was there anything else done to that respect?
Mr. Marcano, ¿usted ha visto otros incidentes sospechosos concernientes a estas actividades? ¿Usted ha visto o ha sido testigo de otros casos así similar con usted?
Conmigo no.
So, nada inconveniente a los carros. Nunca ha visto otras cosas así suceder que usted no se dio cuenta hasta lo último.
Bueno, yo me vine a darle cuenta cuando fui para el City Hall a pagar los taxes de la guagua de mi esposa, de la Mazda MPV, y ahí fue cuando yo le pregunté y ahí fue que yo me vine a dar de cuenta de todo lo que está pasando.
So, Mr. Douglas, Alder Douglas, I've never seen or heard anything like this happen before. The only time that I was able to find this out was when I actually had to go to City Hall and discovered these accounts because I had to pay them in order to get my vehicle out. So I haven't had any previous knowledge of any incidents of this matter.
So what I'm asking, if you understand, is did anyone use this Social Security number to open credit cards or anything else? This is what I'm asking.
Thank you very much for the clarity. So la pregunta es para que puedas entender, ¿han habido otros incidentes como una persona tomando tu seguro social para abrir cuentas bancarias o cuentas de crédito?
Que yo sepa hasta ahora no.
As far as I know, no.
And part two of my question is, now you said that he discovered this in 2017. Am I mistaken? Am I sure?
Lo que la segunda parte de mi pregunta es, ¿tú descubriste esto en el 2017?
Cuando mandé a hacer el reporte cuando yo fui a hacer el reporte porque me vieron todo eso, ella me dijo en el City Hall que hicieron un reporte en la policía para que me hicieran una investigación. Eso fue en el 2007.
So when he discovered that all this was happening was 2007.
2007.
No, 2017.
2017. Okay.
Yeah,
2017.
That's what I thought. So between that time and now, there wasn't anything, any notice, or he wasn't informed, or he didn't know anything about him owing taxes on cars that he didn't register.
So entre 2017 y ahora, ¿tú nunca sabías que tenían otras cuentas que tenías que pagar en concerniente a diferentes carros?
No.
No.
And you discovered this, you're trying to register a car or just after the tow?
So descubriste esto porque estabas intentando de registrar el carro o simplemente porque te lo remolcaron?
Fue cuando me lo remolcaron.
When they towed the car.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Douglas, Alder Douglas. Alder Roth, any questions?
No questions. No, thank you. And I appreciate your translating. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Alder Carmen Rodriguez, any questions, comments?
Is he saying that there were fraudulent charges, and does he have a police report into the fact that he filed a complaint? And did he file one further down the line with like the credit bureau to ensure that he would be safe from this happening
Usted intentó, caballero, hacer un reporte, pero no pudo suceder, ¿correcto?
Sí, yo le llevé todos los papeles al policía y el policía pues estaba haciendo la investigación, pero no sé, y fui a buscar el reporte, pero me dicen ahí en el City Hall que no hay ninguna información ahí.
So he attempted to make the report, but he was informed by the officers there's not information to make the report. Ahora, ¿usted hizo una encuesta o hizo un reporte, una querella en concerniente al crédito para que no utilicen su crédito o su seguro social, o hiciste otro reporte a pesar de los policías?
No.
So he did not go and do like a credit report. Basically, he didn't do anything aside from just the police department. He tried to make a report. There was insufficient information, so he didn't get anything back, but he didn't go and make any further complaints or anything like that with his credit or anything like that.
So the final question then is, so there is no, because there wasn't sufficient evidence, the police didn't even write a police report that said insufficient evidence. This gentleman is alluding to these cars registered under his name. I'm only asking so that there could be a trail that he followed, and there would be no questions moving forward that this incident, took place or didn't take place. Thank you.
Great question, Alder Rodriguez. Caballero Marcano, so usted no recibió ningún reporte de la policía que está diciendo no hay suficiente información o no hay suficiente evidencia en concerniente a la alegación de que los carros están siendo, las cuentas están siendo abiertas fraudulentamente. ¿Usted no recibió ninguna carta, ningún reporte diciendo no hay suficiente información del departamento de policía?
No, yo lo que fue a buscar el reporte para llevárselo en el City Hall, en el segundo piso, y yo lo tengo aquí en la mano mía, pero yo no sé leer el inglés.
So usted se lo envió a uno de nuestros, o a Dan o a Al Luke, que son mi persona. Usted se lo puede enviar ahora mismo.
A Dan yo se lo envié ahorita, okay. No hace una hora atrás.
So he only received a report from the police department. I believe he submitted it to Don. Don, did you receive it?
Yes, I did, and I forwarded all the emails to you. It's about
Perfect.
7 pages.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's 1 page per email, and I don't
No
have the
problem.
ability to print it out and PDF it, and it wasn't
No
time to
problem.
have Al do it.
No problem. What I can do is I can open it and then I'll share the screen so that everybody can see it and have an opportunity to view it. Did you send that? You send that today, Don?
Yes, I did, right after I got it.
Yep,
and
I
sent
got
to
it. Here
you.
it is. Yep, I got it. Perfect. So let me go ahead and open this.
Ahí están toda la información de los carros y todo ahí.
Okay. So just bear with me, guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up, because it's a 1-by-1 page. Let me go ahead and try to see if I can make it as easy as possible for you guys to see it by attaching those attachments into a Word document. And then I'm going to share the screen so that you can guys see it real time. So just bear with me. That's one.
Y ese whisky es mío.
That's two.
Ella siempre busca el refugio por otras partes. ¿Por qué tú no buscas refugio conmigo?
And I thank you guys for your patience.
No seas mentirosa que no te di agua. No seas mentirosa.
So I'm just copying and pasting the documentation into a Word, and then I'm because they're sideways, I'm changing the position, and then I'm enlarging them in order for you guys to see it. And I am in the last one, so in the next 20 seconds, you should be seeing a document once I start sharing it. That's if I'm able to share it, hopefully. And then the last one. That's just a blank document, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I would like to also acknowledge and recognize Alder Kempton Singh for joining us. Thank you, Alder. And I will also like to recognize Madam President Walker Myers for joining us. Thank you. And I would like to also recognize Alder Jody Ortiz for joining us. So I'm just gonna go ahead and share my screen now, just so that you guys can see what I'm seeing. So we can share. So Al, do you know if I can share my screen by any chance? It's giving me,
You are a co-host. You should be able to share. What does it say?
it says who can share, only host, all panelists I just want to share. I don't want to give anyone. Oh, you know what?
Yes.
Let's try this.
That's
try
yeah.
this.
Yeah. Go ahead. There you
Can
go.
Perfect. Okay. So here we are. Let me go ahead and move this here. Let's do one of these. Move this down. Take that out of the way. Okay. So this is the report. Caballero, ¿usted puede ver el reporte que estamos ahora mismo compartiendo?
Oh.
Mr. Marcano.
Oh, I have him on mute.
Gotcha.
Needs to unmute. There you go. Okay, go ahead.
Marcano.
Ajá.
¿Usted puede ver el documento que estamos ahora mismo compartiendo?
Sí.
Ok, este es el reporte que usted sometió para evidencia con Dan Hayden. Okay, perfecto. All right, committee. So he's acknowledging that this is the report that he submitted today as part of the evidence. And as you can see, the one is 1985 Honda Accord, 1988 GMC S1500, 1993 Hyundai,
'Grande.
So I'm just going to read this for the record. On January 10, 2017, at approximately 1530 hours, I was dispatched to 21 West Street, 3rd floor in regards to, and unfortunately I have you guys in the way. Let me just move you out of the way. 3rd floor in regards to a fraud complaint. The caller stated somebody had stolen his identity. Upon my arrival, I spoke to the complainant, Juan Marcano. Marcano stated he went to the City of New Haven tax collector's office located at 165 Church Street. An employee of the tax office advised him he owed approximately $5,000 in car taxes under 9 different vehicles. Marcano said that he did not register any of the 9 vehicles and believed someone had stolen his identity. Employees at the tax collector's office advised him to make a police report and report the fraudulent activity to the Department of Motor Vehicles so he would not have to pay taxes. Marcano provided me with the tax bills of the 9 vehicles in question. The document, 22-page total, had all of the vehicles' makes, models, VINs, and marker plates. The vehicles were as follows: 1993 Hyundai XL, 1988 GMC S1500, 1995 Honda Accord, 1989 Chevy Cavalli, 1991 Toyota Camry, 1991 Volkswagen Jetta, 1992 Nissan Sentra, 1995 Honda Prelude, 1994 Dodge B250, and they all have Connecticut registration plates, as well as VIN numbers. I conducted motor vehicle registration checks on all marker plates and VINs via my police cruiser's computer system. All checks revealed no record found. Marcano was unable to provide me with any further information on the vehicles and exactly how much was owed in taxes. I logged the document into the New Haven Police Department property room as evidence. Marcano was also unable to provide me with any possible suspects at this time. Marcano was issued a case number, and this report will be forwarded to the Financial Crimes Unit for further investigations. Nothing further at this time. And then this is the continuation of the different types of cars. Let's see. So this is his contact information. These are the 9 vehicles. Or actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, the 9 vehicles, as you can see. A little bit small, so let me see if I can just enlarge just a bit. Okay. And then I believe the last page is just empty. So I think that is pretty much enough evidence for us to, I guess, look at and consider. And then at this time, we would like to open the floor for any further questions. Let me just stop sharing for a second. And at this time, if after having reviewed that particular police report, any further questions that the committee may have? Alder Santiago.
Marcano, ¿me oye?
Aquí estoy.
Ajá. Entonces, de 2001 al 2011, usted vio en Christopher Green, usted dijo, ¿verdad?
Exacto.
Ahí, nada más tuvo, ¿qué carro usted guiaba en ese tiempo? Eso,
Para ahí, Alder Santiago. So,
yeah.
Mr. Marcano, can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. So you lived from 2001 to 2011 in one particular place in Christopher
Green.
Green? Yes, I did. Aldo Santiago?
And I asked him too if he only drove one vehicle through all that time, from 2001 to 2011. Nada más tuvo un vehículo, Mr. Marcano.
Yo tuve una Dodge Ram de 2002, que era una guagua de la iglesia.
So I had a Dodge Ram, which was a church vehicle.
Y un Toyota Corolla desde 1999, y de ahí para allá no tuve más carro.
I had a 1999 Toyota Corolla, but I didn't have any other vehicles at that time.
Yeah, estoy preguntándole eso y como le digo, no tenemos los años que estamos en los carros registrados, porque es bueno comparar, porque usted tuvo que estar pagando taxes en esos años. So, si había un carro registrado en ese tiempo, tenía que haber salido.
The reason I'm asking these questions is because since we don't have the years of the vehicles, it would be good for us to know that, because then we would know and determine when was it that they were registered, because by that time he would have to been aware and he would have to have paid taxes on them.
Sí, pero yo saqué mi licencia en el 2003, si mi mente no me falla, y yo no tenía carro hasta el 2003 porque yo no tenía licencia. Yo no guío sin licencia, yo tengo licencia.
No diga eso.
No, pues yo por lo menos, varón, yo soy un siervo de Dios, yo por lo menos no guío sin licencia.
Muchas gracias, Marcano. Dame un segundito. Don.
Yes, most of those vehicles were registered in 2004.
So, la mayoría de los carros estaban registrados en el 2004.
So, entonces, queremos ayudarlo. So,
¿Sí?
Lo que digo yo es, usted pagó los taxes de los dos que usted tenía, ¿verdad?
Estaban a nombre de mi esposa, no mío, de mi esposa.
Eso no fue la pregunta que yo hice. Usted pagó los taxes en esos años mientras usted vivió en Christopher Green.
Exacto, exacto.
So you were paying the taxes. The question from Aldo Santiago, you were paying the taxes in Christopher Green for those vehicles.
Estaban a nombre de mi esposa.
The vehicles were under my wife's name.
Okay. Eso es. Y lo último, no te voy a preguntar, y perdón que te voy a preguntar mucho. Ninguna de las direcciones, en ningún carro, pues yo no veo, no sé. Actually, this might be for Don. Don, none of the cars had the Christopher Green address as a registration? Do you have the paper with you or no?
No, it's in the office.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, all right, never mind.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Thank you, Alder. Any other questions from the committee? Any comments from the committee? Okay, so I will go ahead and we'll move on to item 2. So we'll make a determination at the end of the committee meeting. Caballero Juan Marcano, so en estos momentos vamos a concluir con nuestra porción. Ya usted puso su caso, sometió la evidencia y ahora vamos a ir a otro asunto, y al final de la reunión nosotros vamos a tomar una determinación en concerniente a qué vehículo, si vamos a reembolsarle o si no, y si le vamos a reembolsar, cuál es la cantidad. Usted se puede quedar en la reunión o puede recibir una llamada de Don al final. Yes, Don.
He has my home cell phone number, so he can call me tomorrow morning rather than wait till the very end.
Okay, so basically I explained that same thing, that we're going to now move on to the second item. We're going to stop, and we've concluded with his portion, and he's either able to stay or he can call Don. Let me just interpret. So, Caballero Juan, usted se quiere quedar, se puede quedar, pero no es obligado. Si usted quiere, como usted tiene el número de Donald Hayden, usted lo puede llamar mañana en la mañana y él le va a decir cuáles son los resultados de este comité.
Pues está bien, pues yo lo llamo mañana.
Ok, perfecto. Usted, que pase buenas noches.
Ok, pues Dios me lo bendiga.
Amén. Dios te cuide.
Okay.
So the gentleman is going to call tomorrow in the morning, Don. So he's going to call you, and you're able to give him the news.
Yeah, no problem.
I appreciate that. So without further ado, let's move on to item 2. This is where we're going to have a workshop for a briefing regarding the financial empowerment team for the Board of Alders. And if anybody that is going to be presenting, if you can please come to join us. And then once you initiate the conversation, please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Latrice Allen Frazier. I am a financial counselor with the City of New Haven, and I'm here to introduce you to the New Haven Financial Empowerment Center. This is a department that has been pushed since 2015, and we are here. So today is all about what we do. We are looking for residents who are facing financial hardships, and also looking to increase their financial stability. On the line, I also have Annie Harper, who is a big advocate of financial stability and research in the state of Connecticut and what it means. Can you give me 1 second?
Or Douglas, I see your hand. I will certainly call upon you once we have the introductions.
I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. So Annie Harper has done a lot of research within the state on how finances affects not only New Haven, but also the state. But in New Haven, how your finances affect your decisions, how it affects you mentally. And we are here to provide solution and support. So if it is okay with the committee, I can go ahead and start the presentation by sharing my screen.
Absolutely, the floor is yours.
Okay, sorry, it's asking me some questions. All right, so here, we are the New Haven Financial Empowerment Center. We are here to increase the financial stability through knowledge, strategy, and empowerment. And we don't do this by ourselves through just a city entity. We actually partner with Connecticut Association for Human Services. So part of our requirements was for a municipality and also a nonprofit organization to come together to provide financial counseling. We go through a pretty rigorous training and testing to become a certified financial counselor. Right now, we have 2 city employees who are certified financial counselors, and we have 2 employees from CAS, Connecticut Association for Human Services, who provide financial counseling right in the city of New Haven at 316 Dixwell Avenue at the New Haven Ops Center. Part of our grant also requires us to partner with organizations throughout the city, including Elm City Communities, Community Action, just to name a few. So we do this together. We want to reach residents of the city of New Haven. The great thing about our program is there's no income requirements. So if you are someone who is facing hardship or you have a financial goal to purchase a house and you're not sure exactly what credit means or how to obtain that goal, we can help you. So at the New Haven Financial Empowerment Center, we're here to offer professional one-on-one financial counseling as a free public benefit, enabling residents to address financial challenges and needs and plans for their futures. There are many places available online, on TV that charge customers, I believe, a lot of money to fix their credit, help them fix past debts. This is a free service. There's never a charge. We actually do pull credit report and we never charge. The only requirement is that you're a resident of New Haven. This was brought together in partnership with Bloomberg Philanthropies and others, the Cities for Financial Empowerment. Our parent organization is called the Cities for Financial Empowerment Fund. And they support local government in offering professional financial counseling as a free public service connected to existing services such as housing, workforce, or reentry programming in order to reach and empower residents. And so this is only offered in 9 cities throughout the country. New Haven is, we are fortunate in having this organization, and all we need is more residents. So I want to be able to educate you on what someone who comes to our center is going to be able to receive from us. So we have keys to financial empowerment, and we do that through the 4 keys are asset building, banking access, consumer financial protection, and financial education and counseling. So what asset building means is building your savings, building up so you have a fallback, or building savings with a goal. If your goal is to help your children go to college or purchase a home, like I've said previously, or a car. So also banking access. We promote banking access through, I'm sorry, let me start over. Banking is important because most people who have a bank account are more likely to save. So we give information on safe banking that is not going to hurt you with overdraft fees, hurt you with high monthly maintenance fees. We promote banking, and I'm going to talk further into the presentation. We promote banking that is safe and promotes and helps residents be able to control and see their money. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, they are the federal program, and what CFEF really wants to do is connect this federal programs with a more local reach. So Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is a federal agency where a lot of times people are getting sometimes harassed by creditors and they don't know, and the next thing you know, you have a collections on your credit report. What we do is we educate people on what their rights are when creditors call you, that your rights, even if the company is in Georgia, they have to follow Connecticut laws. So what we do is we educate our residents on what their rights are when someone is trying to collect a debt. We also will negotiate with them on the phone with creditors because we want to avoid hardship from debt. And then the last piece is financial education and counseling. Like I said before, we do go through a pretty rigorous training on learning what these pillars are. And also there's a piece of counseling. So with counseling, instead of advice, we follow what consumers are looking for. So I may look at someone's credit and say, hey, you're in a great position to buy a house, but their primary need may be, I want to pay for college, or I want to pay down student loan debt. So this is a program that can be guided by the client, but they also can get education from us on what would be the best way for them to move forward financially and to create that goal. And this is this question is very important. So what would you do if you had a $400 one-time expense? What would that do to your finances? And this is what we ask people to get them to change their mindset around their finances. Because what happens is you're making it for a while. One thing happens, you need a car repair, your heating bill is high, you've had an unexpected medical expense where, you know, your child got sick, had to take a trip to the emergency room, or anything else. What would that do to your budget? And a lot of times what the research has found is that a $400 expense can put someone in eviction status. It can snowball into other financial areas of their life. And those things affect your mental, your ability to make decisions. And if it changes sometimes how you view your opportunities and your the way you see the world. And what I mean by that is that this is a city that offers so many opportunities. I've been in New Haven for about 5 or 6 years. And when I see the opportunities of being able to advance yourself, like I didn't know there were so many things available. And when I talk to people and they'll say, I heard of that, but I really didn't think it was for me. And there are things to advance them with earning more pay, help them with, learning how to earn additional skills or learn more skills. Like we're finding right now, there may not be as many restaurants opportunities or jobs in the city. What do? You might have to build some skills. So you come see me and we also help you with that because we do partner with Workforce Alliance. So I might reach out to my partner at Workforce Alliance and say, hey, I have a client who's interested, or these are the skills they have. What can they do to build those skills? And so that's what we help people do. We'll help them build and connect. And what happens when we advocate for them, there's more of a likelihood for them to follow through on the opportunity. And this is another thing. This is just a personal. Is sometimes people will hit a small roadblock, and I'm not sure what happens. I might be a little feisty about it, but they'll hit a small roadblock about a document, about something really small, and they'll just stop pursuing the opportunity. And what we promote is that to get out of debt or to get out of to build your credit, it takes a certain tenacity. It's going to take some persistence to get you there. This is not a quick fix. We don't go in and, I mean, there are ways you can quickly fix a credit score or, those, I have a banking background. I've seen it before, but we teach you how to do things. And it, just like you got into the debt, it takes time. It takes time to get out of the debt. So how do you plan for those unexpected expenses? Are you going to use a credit card? If you have a credit card and you may not have the best credit, you're going to pay a high interest on that $400 or that whatever you charge. If you have an HSA account, sometimes people will take that money that could be meant for a medical and spend it on the expense that they need. Borrow money from friends and family. If you have a savings or checking account, or some people have investment accounts where they can use funds when they have an emergency. And it's so it's such a light bulb moment when people say investment account, they're like, I've never even thought of investment accounts. Now, we do not invest, we don't give counseling on investments. We're not certified for that. We're not financial planners, but those are ways to save money over a long term. So what we found is that savings is a cognitive thing and these are facts right here. These are facts that people have done research. And my coworker, who's actually having her baby today, she did this research. And what she found out is that more than half of Americans across the United States have less than $1,000 set aside in a savings, non-retirement, liquid cash. People unconsciously think more about money than they think about saving due to the cognitive bias toward earning, according to the new study from Cornell University. And the bias is so powerful that it can warp our sense of time. So we don't realize we're running out of time to save. I've worked with a couple residents who they're reaching up in age, and you have to look at your finances differently when you start to become older. It's not anymore, how can I pay? It's how do I get rid of this debt? And so we counsel people in that way, looking at all aspects of, what could be coming up in their life. People are more focused on paying off debt, regular bills, and going on vacation and living their best life. So this speaks to our generation and even to our times right now where people want instant gratification. But savings is harder subconsciously than actually spending money on saving for a vacation. So that $50 each month you could be putting away or putting towards your bills is actually harder to save subconsciously than people realize. Your brain is automatically telling you you need to pay the light bill, or you need to pay your car note, or you need to pay something else, when really you need the liquid savings just like a bill to have just in case of any emergency. And one more stat is baby boomers tend to be better savers than millennials. So what they're saying is millennials, on the other hand, or adults 35 and under, have a personal savings rate of -2%. So between high student loan debt, being underpaid, and living expenses on the rise, they always feel entitled and wanting to live a champagne life with bare money. Saving anything at all proves to be harder, while access to credit cards are easy. So I say that to say, let's look at a budget. Oh, I'm sorry, there's one more. So this just speaks to savings, that sometimes you have to take that wishful thinking and turn it into real life actuality, because the importance of savings has to be high on the priority. People without a plan, they will never get to their goal. So we help make that plan. And here we have a sample savings. This is budget one. So this is Sue. She's in her 30s and has a school-age son. Sue said that she does not have the ability to save. And so one of the first things we do a financial assessment with our clients when they come in. That's the first thing we do. The second thing is we go over their expenses. And this takes a little bit of, I don't want to say it takes time, because we have to move beyond this point, but it's important to know what your bills are. How much do you make? How much money do you have coming in? How much is your paycheck? So what we do require is you have to bring in those documents, because a lot of times I ask and people are like, I don't know. So if your budgeting right now consists of looking at your direct deposit and then deciding what you want to pay, we have a different strategy that will help you see your money overall. And that's what we do with Sue. So Sue has a job. She's working 30 hours a week. She brings home about $1,500 a month. She's got a side hustle going, which I love. There's always great ways to bring different streams of income in right now. So she makes about $300 a month doing that. And Sue also receives child support for her son, which is $500 a month, bringing her total net cash. And we really do look at net cash because that's what people relate to. They don't relate to gross, of $2,300 a month. So we went through Sue's rent, her gas, what she pays for auto loan, for food, car insurance, her 2 credit cards, cell phones. So, and let me jump back. Her 2 credit cards, she's paying $80 a month. Now, we don't know what her balance is, but if your credit card payment is $40 a month and you're only paying an extra $40 over, or if this is 2 credit card payments, she's paying 40 and 40 on each, that balance is not going down very fast. The interest rate, depending on what the interest rate is. If it's a high interest rate loan, it could take her 3 years at $80 a month to pay that off, okay? We also look at her TV entertainment, and we never counsel that someone shouldn't have something. So I want everybody to understand that it's not about, let me see what I have to cut out in order to save. It's about, okay, how can we look at this a different way? Maybe instead of having Xfinity cable, it might be a great idea to start streaming TV. And so that's the type of counseling that we do. We make a suggestion. It's always up to the resident or the client to decide what is best for them. So she also has childcare expenses of only $50 because family helps her out. Some miscellaneous just to keep money in her pocket, and some laundry. And she makes donations every month. So her total monthly expenses, as you can see, are $2,250. And she has some cash left over, about $11 per week. So we looked at her budget and we helped her revise the same income. And so we helped, in order for her to save, we made some arrangements that had to be made. So we refinanced her car loan. That's something we will work with residents to do. We did also help her coupon. So also at the empowerment, at the App Center, we hold coupon classes every month. Right now, I believe they're going online in Zoom, and we can teach you, I call it digital or technical couponing. So it's not just about clipping coupons. Right now, there are a lot of digital apps out there that help you save money and get money back to you. Our other counselor, Stacy, she actually, from saving from her couponing, did not spend any of her own money for a Christmas, and she has 2 children. So that means a lot. All right. Switching car insurance carriers, that is important. She was able to save some money there. She switched to doing her eyebrows and nails to every other month. So that is a personal commitment. And that, what we try to do, that reduces the amount it's going to cost her for those things for every month. So maybe she can do some self-maintenance. You know, I'll do research on YouTube to help a client. So how can we help you maintain those eyebrows yourself so you don't have to do it every month? It might be a good investment to, you know, for guys to invest in a clipper and maybe just do a little touch up yourself instead of going to the barbershop every week or every other week. So those are the suggestions we make to help with budgeting, because a lot of times there's not availability to make more money. We may have to look at how to use the funds you have and find ways to save. Then we also implemented automatically saving out of her account. That way the money goes straight into the savings account. If you don't see it, you don't miss it. So now her net monthly cash went up to $110. Her giving and donations also went up, and her cash available every week is up to $25.38. So this is, looking at your monthly expenses is very important. Before we can get to the debt and the credit, we've got to look at what you have coming in every month. And this is what we do with our clients. There are many ways to save, like we implemented with Sue, auto savings, saving your coins. Habits of savings is what we want to see. We want to see you create a habit of savings that you do, and after you do a habit for a while, it becomes a natural thing to do. It becomes oh, I got to make sure I save this money. And that's what we want to resonate with our clients. Saving with a goal. If you have, you have a goal, it's easier to save when it's attached to a goal. And so even if it's saving for your vacation or your dream home or a car, open an account with a credit union or a bank separate than your checking account. This is huge. It's so easy to go on your app, transfer the money into your checking and spend it. If your money is at a banking institution that's not connected with their savings, by the time it gives you time to think about, do I really want to withdraw those funds to purchase or to spend it? And I think the most important thing is to pay yourself, especially with a generation that, we have a hard time saving. It's important to know that you got to put yourself in a line item to pay yourself. As soon as you pay off a bill, don't use that money as discretionary. Use that money for savings. And so you're always watching every month those line item things to help you create more savings, more cushion. Okay, so building your credit. When you save, you do help build your credit. So then when you have those unexpected expenses, you have resources to help pull from, which don't negatively affect your credit. Okay, so that's an example of what we would go through with the client. Now, the consumer financial, this is one of the pillars that CFEF has built their financial counseling program from. Consumer protection. So a lot of people don't know their rights. A lot of people don't know how powerful a written word can implement change, especially from a creditor. That once you notify in writing, they have to acknowledge and they have to move forward with abiding by the law. So consumer protection is super important. If you got a creditor calling you 3-4 times a day or 3-4 times a week and it's disrupting your job, that's not something that they can do. So we can talk to them. A lot of times you talk to a creditor to their blue in the face and they'll still keep calling. You have to put it in writing. So we help with those type of letters. The awesome part is this is not only just Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, is there are tools on this site that anyone can use before you open a new loan, before you get a new credit card, before you make that purchase. There are tools, calculators to help you find out, is this a good financial fit for me? And as always, if something happens like where the pandemic that we're in right now, it's important to stay in communication and stay ahead of your creditors. Stay in communication, even if it is, I can't pay right now. A lot of creditors are understanding. If you ignore them, they can't communicate with you. But if you speak to them, they can give you options, and so you know. And then once you go back to work, it's important to follow up back with them and a plan of how you want to restore that relationship with your creditor. So these are the two tools. These are a couple tools that we have. I'm telling you, as financial counselor, we always keep a couple of tools in our pocket to help our clients to promote savings and promote what they need. So Alice Saves is a program created by United Way. And what they do is they match your savings. So anyone in the state, all of us on this line right now are eligible to open an Alice Saves account. When you're clicking on this link, I'm not sure how much I have for time, but when you click on this link, you can go straight to the sign up page. Of course, it's not going to work now, but you can go straight to the sign up page. What it does is promotes a habit of savings. So for 6 months, you put $20 in. At the end of the 6 months, you link your savings account. There's no breaching or anything like that, but they will put $60 in your account. So for free, this is free money they're giving away. So this is through our Alice Saves webinar. If you're like, okay, I'm not really sure about this, I need more education, we've got a few webinar dates. There was one today at 11, but the next one is July 23rd. And my coworker, Stacy Downer, she's the presenter, very knowledgeable on, I learn so much from her every time I see her and I work with her, but she runs the webinar on Alice Saves and the couponing class. The other initiative we have is Bank On. Bank On Connecticut is also promoted by Connecticut Association for Human Services. And what we do, we've partnered with 4 major banks. There's actually an active initiative in this. And the 4 banks that said, yes, we will provide safe, no overdraft fees with minimum payment accounts to residents of Connecticut. So those 4 banks are Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Key Bank, and there's one other bank. Let me see if I can pull it up. Okay, so Bank of America, Chase, Key Bank, and Wells Fargo. So if we take a quick look at, this is the COS website, these featured accounts, there's no overdraft fee. And there's a name here for these accounts when you go to the bank. You're going to go to Bank of America and they're going to say, hey, open an account. You're going to say, I want the safe balance account. Okay. So there's no overdraft fee. There is a monthly fee of $4.95, which if planned is not bad. And the opening for the account is $25. And we have Chase here, which is a major bank, Key Bank. These banks to me are important because they're easily accessible for people. There's one everywhere, there's banks. Also Wells Fargo. The awesome thing about Key Bank is during the pandemic, they've waived the $10 requirement for opening the account. Okay, let me get back to the presentation. So I promise I'm almost done. So that's an important piece. If we have clients that are using debit cards, they're not using check cashing, and it's no judgment on those. But those fees, those fees are the things that will throw off your budget. So what we want to do is get people in bank accounts. People with bank accounts are more likely to save. You also get the free app, which will help with online bill pay, will help you pay your bills on time. Those are things that help increase your credit. All right. So last but not least, take advantage of free knowledge. Come talk to a free counselor for one-on-one financial counseling before opening up a new account. If you're not that savvy to go on the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau site and use those tools, come see us. We help you do things to help you fix and repair credit. We'll talk to old creditor. We'll pull your credit, find out what's on your report. A lot of people, it's just a lack of knowledge. Okay. So, and this is how you reach us. You can call down to the office, leave a message. Right now, if you leave a message, someone will follow up and you'll be referred to a financial counselor. You can also, as the alders, there is a link here, which I'll make sure to send out so you have it available to you. And this is the direct referral. You, as the alders, if you know someone that, maybe they're not going to, they may not call, but you can fill out this referral form. It's pretty easy. Their name, we need at least their name, email, phone number, and zip code, because we track for who we're serving. And so all these things, you just fill this out. And you can put where you're from. If you're an alder, you may not be on this list, but you can absolutely put community-based organization or other there and submit the request form. So I did a lot of talking. Can I open the floor up for questions?
Well, thank you for your presentation. I certainly think it was very useful and certainly something that we want to share with the community. While you were talking, I was just thinking how to make this available to our students for the simple reason that it would be something of benefit to the juniors and seniors in high school. Because when I was in high school, I certainly did not have a class. I think once upon a time they provided a class, but then once my generation, I'm a millennial, once we came into going into high school, that was no longer the case. So I had to learn how to open up a checking account and a savings account on my own.
Wow.
But I was afraid. I didn't know what I was doing. This was when Wachovia was still around,
Right.
and it was bought up by Wells Fargo. But it was certainly something that I wish I knew before I can, because one of the things is when an organization provides matching funds and you don't take advantage of it, you're losing money. One of the things that I learned is I lost out $50,000 because I didn't put, sufficient. I just put the bare minimum. And they were like, you could have saved an additional 50 if you would have put more. And I didn't know that. I knew that, like 5 years ago. But that is something that I wish I knew. And this is something that I think will be beneficial, not only to our students so that they can get ahead of the game, but given the fact that you provided some stats with regards to baby boomers knowing how to do this, and we'll have to assume that also the Generation X knows how to do this, but I would also think that the millennials and centennials would probably be the ones to benefit this from the most,
Right.
Given the situation.
So you're exactly right. It's helping before you get really bad credit and building that credit in a positive way. We we actually had a partnership before COVID with the youth department under CSA to go into the high schools and do some financial education. Um, Under our fund, you have to be 18 to receive counseling, but we will do workshops on basic financial, even understanding student loans. What does that mean to borrow? Because what happens, somebody won't go to college because they don't understand student loans.
Or go to college not understanding that you're going to end up with at least 45 G's or 80 G's.
Higher. You're looking at
I was 88.
150, 200,000 in debt. You can leave.
Yeah, I did 2 years at UNH, so it was 88.
Yeah.
It was 88.
Yeah.
But knowing that going forward, I think that you'll make a better judgment as to where to allocate your funds or where to invest.
And we can also help them with the long term, because you may not have money to pay into your student loans, but the long term of having a degree could give you higher income. And sometimes it's making a choice into what field you want to go to, being aware of that. Well, how much can I make in this field? Am I going to be able to pay my student loan? So going to school with a mindset of, this is how much it's going to cost me. I need to make sure I make a livable wage when I graduate college so that I can pay my student loans. I went for political science, so and I love the people, right? But I'm still paying loans.
as am I. But I don't want to take the whole conversation here, but I certainly think it's a good idea that you're presenting this. And I want to open up to the floor to the committee if they have any questions, comments that you want Latrice to address. And I recognize Alder Roth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you so much for that presentation. I thought the example of going through the budget was just really helpful. It showed how real it was. And I know I get occasionally, and I appreciate it, someone forwards me information about opportunities of what you all do and asks me to include it in my newsletter, which I guess that's one of my main questions is, how you spread the word about, obviously you're here trying to spread the word to us, but sort of what is the size of the sort of client base you see now, and where are there gaps, and what are your thoughts on like how we can help you brainstorm about how to spread the word about the service you offer?
That's a great question, Alder Roth. We are promoting, especially during the pandemic, we're using our partners to get our information out to residents, especially Elm City. I just did a presentation at the beginning of this month of how to budget during the pandemic. And what that, just a brief overview, was about was cutting back on non-essentials. What are non-essentials? What do you do for childcare? Those are the things we do. Right now, we see many people that are facing homelessness. And so we help them with deciding, with connecting them with jobs. New Haven Works, our partners that Workforce Alliance. But we know there's a population out there that are making, they're working 40 hours a week and they still don't have enough to pay their bills. That's the population we'd really love to tap into. A lot, and it's a little personal for me, but you don't have to do this alone. A lot of times we're learning finances, a trial by error. We have knowledge to help with financial strategy, and we also want to give people tools to help them so they're not just getting ahead, like breaking the cycle. So getting ahead and doing well, have one setback and have to start all the way over from the beginning. The awesome part, like with our partnership with Elm City, the residents there in some of their special programs, they get bonuses for working with us. So we really want to tap into that population of residents who are working and they're still not making enough. I just get a little sad. It's a lot of, I see people making $1,600 a month paying $1,200 in rent.
Yeah,
So,
no, I appreciate that. And I'll sort of try to think more about other opportunities. Sort of, I think you said you already connect with the re-entry community. I'm just trying to think of other groups that would really benefit and ways to connect you. I guess I'm also thinking of folks who are older, perhaps finding it more difficult over time to keep track of their finances, and maybe that's a population of people who would be useful to have outreach to. It may be hard for them to get to your center, so I don't know if you ever can go to people or to if sort of communities where there are older people.
So just before COVID, we were working with our partner agencies to have, you know, 1 day a week or one day, twice a month, where we have a counselor at a satellite site, including Marrakesh, Elm City, Community Action. We were working to get that moving. Unfortunately, especially if you're facing homelessness, it's less likely you'll have a smartphone to be able to participate in online counseling. So we also have another relationship with the TAP program, and so we kind of we assist the clients who are looking for transitional housing. So the technology sometimes can be a challenge, but we are available by phone. I still connected with my clients and new clients through phone. Now we have the capability of Zoom. So that's how we're reaching people. And I'm telling you, for me, it's more flexible. I can meet people at their time. I can meet them in the evening. I can meet them on the weekend, and they don't have to, it's a safe environment. And they have their documents, so they can say, oh, hold on a second, let me go grab, you know, whatever bill, when they're already at home. We lose a little bit of time if they don't bring everything with them. So the technology is there for us to still meet people. We just, you know, we will be flexible. All of us are really flexible in understanding. Tell me what your need is, and we'll meet you there.
Great. And I just had one final question. I think you said that you're funded through grant funding. And so I'm curious, kind of if this is a program that the city will be able to benefit from sort of far into the future, if it's renewable every year, if you have any sense that it will end anytime soon.
So I'm not the expert on finances, but I can tell you what I know for facts is that residents, like I said, our residents, you're paying, and I just saw an application for housing, $36,000 a month, a $36,000 minimum income with $1,100 a month rent. That's 37% of your gross income going to rent. So even with just the housing right now in New Haven, and just like the gentleman before with the car towing, like if you're making, you know, I don't know how Juan, I'm sorry, I forgot his last name. I don't mean any disrespect, how he paid that to get his car back. So I believe, and that's why I believe in what I do. This is really a hard thing for me. It's work, but it's not work. Is that there is a need in our community for people to receive financial strategy, and there is definitely a need.
Oh, I agree with that. I just didn't know if the grant is coming from a like some you said, I know you mentioned Bloomberg. I didn't know if it's sort of a grant that's a 3-year grant or a 5-year grant, if it's continuing.
Yep. So right now we have a 2-year grant. I do know that. Rick Kaiser would probably be the best person to follow up with that. He's my supervisor.
Yeah, it's Rick who writes me sometimes and shares the information to share. Great. Well, again, thank you for presenting to us, and thank you for all you do. And obviously, you care so much about what you do, and everyone, I'm sure, is very grateful, all the people who you help. So thank you.
Thank you, Alder Roth. And before we go on with further questions or comments, I would like to recognize Alder Clybourne has joined us. Thank you, Alder. And now I would like to have Alder Santiago with a question or concern.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just got one question. How do you help people on the reentry program? I mean, how can you help them?
So with reentry clients, sometimes I have clients that hit the ground. They want to hit the ground running so fast, and I help them with the current outlook of what the job market is. You can't go into McDonald's anymore and just get a job. It doesn't work like that. I help them with finding jobs with people that may not, look at their record. I help them find careers or trainings, because sometimes if you haven't been working in 4 or 5 years or 3 years, you need some training to make yourself more marketable. So explaining that to someone who's been, they've got a plan, but let me help you execute that plan. Let me help you learn this new thing called marketing yourself. Let me help you with resume. And so it's a little safer because we're just doing this one-on-one. They're not in a group. Stacy Downer and I did a presentation actually at the federal courthouse right next to City Hall on some clients in a room about financial counseling. And so we provide the ability to do that without being in a big group. We also, for more specifically, so we will help them with finding work the best we can, navigating the computer, submitting online. We connect them with job services, Workforce Alliance, and we also make sure they're connected, they get their IDs. So we are an organization, we can get a voucher for birth certificates and give a voucher for state ID. So does that answer your question, Elder Santiago?
Yes, and one last simple question.
I love your questions.
No, it's gonna be. I probably know the answer, but I just want to make sure for clarification. You said that one of the slides that you show, he said direct. Oh my God! If I fill it out to send somebody to you, like
A
oh my
referral?
God. Thank you, thank you, Alder. Like
You
a
got it.
referral. I mean,
Oh,
can I do like somebody that just came out
yes,
as a referral?
yes, yep.
Okay.
As long as they have a New Haven address,
Oh, yeah,
they can come see me.
definitely.
Yep.
And the phone number, I'll do everything. All right. Thank you. That's it for me.
Okay.
Thank you, Alder
Very nice
Santiago.
presentation too.
And you know what? To piggyback on that, so just a question regarding the reentry population. Do you guys assist with either the process of certificate of employability or pardon application, or do you actually refer them to a particular person who can help them with that?
I haven't had any, most of my clients come in with someone who's helping them with certificate of employability. We don't do that part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
We work a little different with them because a lot of reentry, they have access to some assistance. We try to go a little deeper with helping them with their own goals. Finding an apartment, having a job that's employable. We actually just partner with the organization that does mental health and whole social service. So they will help them with security deposit if they're a client with them, seeing a therapist, a counselor there. So we try to provide, we don't want to make this a copycat of something that they're already getting. We want to help them find something that is important to them, that will help them, get their lives back to what they see themselves as doing, and also expand it if we need to,
Right.
and not limit themselves, and to really take advantage of what's available in the city.
Excellent, because, and I'm glad you mentioned Workforce Alliance, because I believe that a gentleman by the name of Glenn Young, he certainly works with the reentry program, as well as other individuals. Having worked at Workforce Alliance for several years, I have some of the insight as to what do they do, and they certainly are a wonderful partner to have.
Yeah.
But I also was thinking, what about like New Haven Works? Especially for the residents here in New Haven. One of the things that you're gonna realize from the alders is that we are actively anything that is in the best interest for our community, for local hiring, local initiatives, local assistance. That is certainly what we want to promote, and certainly by partnering with other local agencies, non-for-profit organizations, that will certainly be beneficial. Like for example, Farnham, the Farnham House, maybe Casa Otoñal, other places around the city that will certainly benefit from having those. Basically, your presentation, the insight that you have will certainly be very useful to the community that we serve.
So we do partner with New Haven Works, and I can tell
Okay.
you, I groom my clients before they go there. It
Yeah.
is Workforce Alliance can help someone get more training, more skills. I went through New Haven Works, so it is a rigorous. If your resume is not where it needs to be, you're gonna get a little lost there. So
Yeah.
I give them some extra support if they decide I want to go into construction, or I have medical billing experience, or I worked, in the healthcare field before. We have to get that resume tightened up before, and they really require it.
Yeah.
Even to sign up, you have to submit your resume.
Correct.
And to get to that step to meet with one of their counselors, your resume's got to be in good shape. So
Yeah.
some clients may not be, and not that I don't refer them, but I help prep them before they go to New Haven Works, especially
Good.
with our reentry population. It's so easy to get disappointed. And that's with our Bank On initiative. Opening a bank account is that can trigger an anxiety for someone. Going down and applying for a job when you really need it can trigger an anxiety. So we try to provide more of that one-on-one support
Good.
as far as finances.
I appreciate that. Because I can tell you, I have a great, relationship with Melissa Mason, the executive director of New Haven Works, as well as Ashley Green, and they're phenomenal. They're phenomenal. I can tell you that. I've gone through their process. I've learned and worked with them, collaborated with them, and they have done a superb job. So if you certainly need, uh, I don't know, like for someone, if they need training or a little bit of assistance, just like you said, they certainly need a ready resume, but they're willing to also sit with you and provide some of that guidance.
Right,
That
because
is
then
certainly
I can
needed.
get my client a job making a livable wage where they can afford their rent with New Haven Works. So that's, the benefit is they're looking for a little, you're not gonna make $10 an hour, you're not gonna make $12, you're gonna make a higher wage with New Haven Works. That's what I love about them. Is
Yeah.
if they find jobs for you where it's not just a job, it's gonna be something you can live off of
Yep.
a rate. So and benefits. So
Yep. So, and I want to thank my leadership for basically informing me that the New Haven Works basically also does resume writing. They actually, even though if it's not ready, as long as you have something written down in documentation, you can submit it, and they'll help you there, because it initiated through the Board of Alders the idea of helping folks with resumes and getting them through the jobs pipeline and ensuring local initiatives and hiring within New Haven. So we can certainly, even if you think that they're not ready for New Haven Rising, or I'm sorry, New Haven Works, I will certainly still make that referral, just so they can, if there's something that they want to work with, maybe New Haven Hospital, Yale University, they certainly have the relationship with Chris Brown, the executive director of human resources at the university, I believe the main campus, and they certainly provide additional service. So certainly not to take away from you, but certainly to collaborate with you and
yes,
to certainly assist the New Haven population.
yes, absolutely.
And any more questions from my colleagues? I think I saw a hand up. Alder Douglas, did you
Alder
raise your hand?
Douglas.
Yeah, but my question basically was answered, but I do have another one. So what's the success rate look like for you guys? It sounds like a very, very good program. Thank you, Latrice.
You're welcome.
So is there do you guys like follow up on some of the clients that you have used? And
So
give me some of the give me a good story.
Okay. So we have we want to meet with people at a minimum of 3 times. And it can be once a month, it can be once every couple weeks. Most people right now are in a little bit of a crisis. They might come to us in financial crisis. So they may come to us more than once a month. We might have to follow up with them, help them stay on track. What I found is that many people are knowledgeable in their own finances. They know how to work things themselves. It's just giving them more information. As far as our success rate, we actually have goals we have to meet, outcomes. That is, we have a database system that tracks information through our funder. So that's huge. I got certified in March, about 2 weeks before the pandemic. So unfortunately, I may be too new to rate. That's a term I know from my banking background. I'm too new to rate as far as outcomes. But I can tell you from my own experience that I have seen people who want more will go out and get jobs. They'll follow through with the recommendations I make, with the partnerships we have, and I've seen them get on track. So so when you say you're looking for what the outcomes are, I have certain achievements and outcomes I have to reach with residents. I just haven't had enough time to be able to achieve any yet, but those will be forthcoming soon, as we continue to work.
Thank you. Well, that's great. You seem like to be right on track. So I'm looking forward to sending some people your way. So
yes, please do.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alder Douglas. I appreciate it. And just to piggyback off of Alder Douglas, if you want to send the presentation over to Al Lucas and Don, and they will certainly distribute it to us as the Board of Alders, just so we can all have it. If it's something that you definitely want to give out to the public, I know that some certain presentations are just simply just for presentation only. But if you have any literature, any brochures, or the presentation that you have that will certainly be useful for us to present. And just like Alder Roth alluded to, if we want to provide that information in the newsletter to our constituents, we have now a better understanding and the information and contact info.
Yes, thank you. I will send the flyer, a copy of the presentation, and a link to that referral, so it's easily accessible. Everything you saw in the link is an active link, so you will be able to just click on it on yourself, and go to the various resources that I discussed in the presentation. I am so grateful for your time. I appreciate everyone here that has listened, and like I said, this is a needed. We have a lot of housing, we have a lot of help for different things, but financial help it's hard to come by. We're the only one in the state. So I appreciate your time tonight and allowing me to share my knowledge and information.
Well, before you leave, any more questions, colleagues? Any comments before we have Latrice and Annie step away? Alder Douglas?
Yeah, great presentation. I really loved it. It's very useful, and we will make head with it. Please.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alder Singh?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're muted. You got muted again.
Great presentation, thank you. And I'm looking forward for the flyer so I could pass that out through an email to our constituents so they would be aware. And I would bring that to my management team. Sometime I may call you if you could do a quick presentation. I would appreciate it.
Yeah.
And secondly, please don't give up on the high schoolers. If you just do a workshop and teach them about credit and debit. They get that through their head, that would take them for life, So don't give up on the workshop or the high school.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Alder Singh. Alder Claiborne, did you raise your hand? I'm sorry.
Yes, I just want, thank you, Chair. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
You're welcome.
I want to say to the young lady, this was a awesome presentation, and this is what people need for foundation of their lives to make it. And I was hoping that just the presentation part could make it to the 7th and 8th, right up to high school. You will see this would really help generations if they had this information. Like the chair was saying, we had something like this in our school. I know when I was in school, but it sort of faded out. But this is very much is needed. And if you could really hit our schools just with the presentation part, this and give the kids this information, you wouldn't believe the lives that you would really help, you know. So thank you. And the kids take in so much now. They're smart, really smart, they know. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Alder Claiborne.
Alder
Anybody
Claiborne.
else? Any questions, concerns? Okay, well, thank you, Latrice, for a phenomenal presentation. And keep up the phenomenal job that you do. Keep up the great job of helping people to understand the importance of financial literacy and having an opportunity to save and the importance of saving long term. One of the things is that I didn't learn that until I was in mid-20s and the importance of it. But had I done that 10 years prior, I would have certainly had much more saved up by now. But certainly thank you for your service, and we bid you farewell.
Thank you.
Thank you. So committee, I would entertain motions for any of the items. Yes, Alder Santiago.
Do you have to ask if anybody wants
Yes,
to comment?
yes, correct. That is correct. I would like to ask the public. No, thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that. I certainly want to make sure that the public has any particular questions, announcements, or testimony. So at this time, I would like to ask: does anybody from the public wish to testify? And of course, Don and Al. I don't know if you see anybody in the audience. Twice. This is the second time. Does anybody from the public would like to testify or provide any particular words or questions? For a third time, does anybody from the public wish to testify on items 1 or 2? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to close the portion, the public here,
Second.
Yep. So the public portion has been moved and seconded to close. Do I a discussion? I see none. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Any opposed with a nay? Any abstention? The item passes. The ayes have it. The public portion has been closed. So thank you. And now we're going to go into discussion with the committee. Alder Singh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was having technical issue logging in. It took me a while to get on, so I missed part of item 1. Could you bring me up to speed a little bit? I was there when the gentleman was testifying.
Certainly. So I'll take a motion for someone to move it, and then once it's seconded, I'll certainly do that in discussion.
So move.
Second.
Second.
So item 1 has been moved in second. Discussion. So Alder Singh, for your knowledge, one of the things is that Juan Marcano approached us because back in 2017, his vehicle got booted and it got towed. And when he went to City Hall, he discovered that he had 9 vehicles registered under his name. And he informed that those were not his, that it was fraudulent, and that his social security number and his date of birth, as well as his name, was being utilized fraudulently, where it incurred up to $1,100 or $1,800. I believe it was $1,809 with 99 cents.
Yes.
And so in order for him to get his vehicle back, because he needed to utilize it, he had to pay not only the $1,809 with 99 cents, but as well as up to $500 or more in I believe citations for those vehicles. And now he had a discussion with someone either at the tax collector's office where they were referred to Don in order for him to have an opportunity to see if there's any reimbursement opportunity for him to get back that money that he paid. He also submitted a report that he went to the police department, and the report was shown earlier during the committee that the gentleman reported those 9 vehicles, that they were not his, and pretty much there was no information in addition from the police department that was necessary or that was available at the time. But since 2017 to the present, he has not had any opportunity to see if there was any additional activities for either opening a bank account or credit account or another car. So basically, he found out that his car or that his information was utilized when his vehicle got towed. And that was item 1. So now I open it up to you guys. Hopefully that was some information that can bring you up to speed. And now I'm going to open up the floor to everyone in the committee to what are your thoughts? What should we do? And what do you recommend?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Follow up. And when his car has booted,
Yep.
When they do a check, there wasn't any additional vehicle that was registered in his name, just this 11th vehicle, which was fraudulently a few of them.
When his car got booted and towed, and he went to the tax collector office, he found out the additional vehicles being registered under his name.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yep. And just a point of clarification, after having had a conversation during this committee with gentlemen, he indicated that the Mazda Protege and the Dodge was his, as well as the Mazda Protege. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna share with you guys my screen, because I want you to see what I'm seeing. So pretty much this is what's bolded is what he's acknowledged that he had. So he paid those. This is what I'm going to present to the committee. I would believe that under items 1, 2, and the last one, he had to pay for those because they were under his possession, and he acknowledged they were his. But then items 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, these items here would not be his. And if I look at those calculations, that add up to, let's see, so 1809.99 minus 261 with 42 cents minus 104 with 69 cents minus 147 with 87 cents totals up to 1296 with 1 cent. So 1296. And I think that would be the total, that instead of having to get reimbursed the entire amount of 1809, I think it would be appropriate for 1296 to be reimbursed if that's what the committee wishes to do. And I would now open up the floor for everyone to pitch in what is your suggestion or what it is that you want to do, whether you want to reimburse or you choose not to. And any hands? I see Alder Roth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would follow the suggestion you had of reimbursing him the 1,200, whatever that number was. I mean,
yep.
I feel like we have evidence in 2017, he immediately went to the police department and filed the report. I just can't believe someone would go through the effort of going to the police department, filing the report, following up with us all this time later for, I mean, $1,200 is a lot of money, but not so much money that I even though I could not directly understand him because of the language difference, his story seemed very credible to me, and so that's what I think. I do think maybe to share the information about that we just learned from the second presentation with him, because in response to the question of if he reached out about protecting his credit, I mean, that might be just good knowledge for him to have if that's appropriate, just for future reference. So that's my thought on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alder Roth. I appreciate your comments and your consideration. Alder Douglas.
Well, I just have reservations about this particular case. Excuse me. I understand that this does take place sometime, but I mean, that's a lot of vehicles
Yeah.
to be registered in your name to not have any clue as to this happening.
Mhm.
It just doesn't set with me, right? I don't see, and I furthermore don't see reimbursing him $1,200. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
I think we should take into consideration that if it were me and my identity was stolen, I'd be investigating that. Not just if someone's got hold of my social security number and all of that, I need to look deeper into that. I wouldn't just leave it up to the police department here to look into that. So I have reservations about it. I don't see us reimbursing him $1,200. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Alder Douglas. Duly noted, and I appreciate your comments and your conservative perspective. Absolutely is valuable. So thank you, Alder Santiago.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I do. I'm in the same line with all the Douglas because on the assembly, if somebody has my social security, I'm just not just gonna check the cars. I'll check my everything. I mean, as deep as possible for anything done on my name, and also if we to my calculations, we should be reimbursing 1,500, not 12. That no counting the interest, only for those three cars. Because 1809, and it was actually like 271, the actual taxes that he had to pay without the interest. It's like close to 1,540. If you add just the taxes without the interest, we usually help with the interest. Uh, but I do acknowledge what Alder Douglas was saying. That's too many cars for you not to know. It could be. I'm not saying it wasn't, but it's like 6 cars registered on your name, and then he said it was different addresses too. I mean, I'm in the fence here. I don't know if you know which way to go. So I don't know. I guess I'll leave it to somebody else to make the motion. But I'm in the fence there because too many cars. There's too many cars, and to not to know. That's my thinking. Thank you.
Thank you, Alder Santiago. Before we continue, I see Don wants to provide some information.
Yes, each of those accounts were a different name and a different address. Therefore, he would not have gotten a tax bill on these cars.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Then that is certainly helpful.
I still got the floor, right?
Alder Santiago, you got the floor.
So the different through you, Chair. So Don, all those different names?
Yes, they were all different names, different addresses, different plates.
Okay, so
everything was different.
So why ended up in his account?
Because it's under his name.
Oh, so it's not different names.
The name is, I'm sorry. The name is his.
Okay.
The addresses were all different.
Okay. You said different names. I'm like,
I'm sorry. I misspoke on that. I'm glad you caught.
I got you, Don.
No, I was gonna pick up on that because I was like, so same name, different name. Go ahead, Alder Santiago. You have the floor.
So his full name, does he have like a middle initial? We had this problem before, middle initial, two last names, nothing like that?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Alder Santiago. So, Don, let me ask you this. So, what about the names for the Mazda Protege, the Dodge GC? Are they under his name? And
yes.
Were the address under his particular address?
To be honest with you, I don't remember, and I don't have that in front of me.
Okay, because that would be interesting because he did acknowledge that the Mazda is his, but if it's under a different address altogether, that would be a little bit suspicious in my view as well. Especially because he said the Mazda and the Dodge were under his. And yeah, so that, I don't know if Al would be able to tell me that if he has an opportunity.
I'm looking it up now.
So just for clarification, there was a motion, we moved the item, and it was seconded. Now we're just discussing some of the things that we should be doing, and I would entertain a motion as to what exactly the committee wants to make. And I certainly want to thank Mr. Majority Leader for his guidance and leadership during this time. Yes, Alder Roth.
Just one more thought in response to the helpful comments by my colleagues. Yeah, I guess in terms of I agree that the fact they didn't follow up on his credit and to see, what else happened with this, it's something I think many people do, but I'm just reminded by the speaker who just went that some people don't think to do that, but it's hard to know. But I mean, it's a good point. But yeah, I just think the fact that he went to the police and then all these years later is following up just seems like that's a lot of effort to go through for sort of just this. But
I agree, Alder Roth. Certainly the initiative of going to the police is certainly there merits to, or there should be a merit of goodwill on our behalf, given that he was doing it on good faith, that he was trying to rectify the situation and try to put in a resolution as to, hey, there's been a identity fraudulent activity happening. I need your help. So certainly by putting that report in, I don't think someone who would do that and be fraudulent would go to the police and be bold enough to try to deceive the system by putting a report as well. I see what you're saying. I follow what you're saying. Don?
Yes, get back to you. His 3 cars had 3 different addresses. The Protege was under Juan Marcano, and the other vehicles were under Juan A. Marcano.
Okay, so
which includes the other 2 vehicles that he said that he owned.
Which are the Mazda and the Dodge?
Yeah, the Mazdas were actually 2 different years. Mazdas. Okay. So he had, when he registered those cars, he put in his middle initial. When he registered the first Mazda, he did not put in his middle initial. But those are the only accounts that were open under his name.
Okay, so the one with the only missing the middle initial is the first one, the Mazda Protege?
Correct.
And the rest are with the initials.
Everything else is under Juan A. Marcano.
Okay, so I guess now the question is, do we want to now incorporate these 2 as potential reimbursement? Okay, committee, I open up the floor to you guys, and Alder Singh.
He did mention something of the Camry. He had the Camry and
he had a Corolla. He had a Corolla.
The Corolla, and something was registering his wife or something like that. I wasn't.
Earlier he mentioned that his wife had a Nissan registered under her, and another vehicle, a Corolla. I believe it was a 1999 Corolla, if my memory serves me well.
Right.
And I think those were the only 2 that were registered under his and her name.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Alder Santiago?
I still want to go. I'm piggybacking all the Rod. I know it's a lot of vehicle, but he do due diligence, made a report to the police, and departments filed a report and did make effort to come to the city, pay the taxes and the refer to our committee to see any help or.
Absolutely. And again, thank you, Alder Singh. Yep. So, are you set?
Yes, I'm set.
Okay. So I certainly see everybody's point.
I'm sorry. And Don answered the question, because one of the things was leading up to, they were all different addresses, so it's hard for him to.
Yeah.
But Don did answer that question.
That is a valid point. You all set?
Yes.
Thank you. Perfect. So before we go to Alder Santiago, certainly want to let you guys know that as a committee, we have the opportunity to either refund some of it if you feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable in reimbursing the whole thing, we can do 50%, 75%, everything, or nothing. And again, this is up to the committee, whatever you propose. Alder Santiago.
Okay, I got a couple of points because I've been in tax abatement a lot longer than,
Yes,
than
sir.
all of you. And I understand that going to the police is a bold move, but believe me, you'll hear things that with the economy the way it is, and also, and not saying that he lied about it, because we will never know. Only he knows. We only go with what we got in front of us. But at the same time, he said that he only lived in what's the name? I wrote it down. In Christopher Green from 2001 to 2011.
And then went to Puerto Rico.
The vehicles that he had different addresses. So, and the vehicles that he acknowledged that were his, as Don said, they have different addresses. So which one is it? He said, I only lived there with my wife in 2011. Then he went to Puerto Rico and he came back. So right there, it's a red flag when you said you only lived there, but Dan just mentioned, unless I heard you wrong, Dan, are the addresses Christopher Green on those vehicles? Through the chair.
So Don, are any of the registered vehicles with the Christopher, what is it, Alder Santiago?
Christopher Green, I think it is.
Christopher Green, are any of those vehicles registered under Christopher Green, especially the Protege and the Dodge?
He had, for the first one, the first Protege was 23 Main Street.
And what year was? What year?
That was in 2004.
Okay.
As I said, most of these are 2004. And he had the Dodge Dodge Caravan was at 21 West Street. And then the second Protege, he was at 37 Truman Street, Apartment 1.
Okay, Dan, thank you. And if I may continue, he did say that the Dodge Caravan was his wife's. And I mean, I got good memory. I don't know if he did say that. And if they both lived in Christopher Green, why is the address somewhere else? I mean, that's just.
And then he also, Alder Santiago, to your point, he also mentioned that he had a Dodge Ram for the church.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, that's not, like I said, it's not that I'm calling him a liar. It's just, I heard so many stories through all these years that I've been the co-chair with Michael Smart. Then I was a chair. Then now, I mean, I heard, all kinds of stories. Once again, not saying that he lied, but just bringing my knowledge and the facts in front of us to your ears. So, I mean, we could do a percentage. We could do all of it. I know. That's it. Thank you.
So thank you, Alder Santiago. Alder Roth.
No, I just want to say I appreciate Alder Santiago's perspective, because I don't think we've had even this term a case like this where we've had to evaluate. So this is my first time doing it, and I know I probably err towards like wanting to trust someone, and I will confess with the language difference, it was maybe harder to evaluate the credibility directly with I appreciated the translation, but not hearing it direct. So yeah, it's hard to I guess I'm on the fence, which isn't getting to a resolution, I know, which is what you're trying to have us do.
So Alder Roth, are you saying that you are on the fence with regards to wanting to still give him the portion of the money back, or that you?
Yeah, I'm wondering maybe if based on sort of the experience of Alder Santiago, if some middle ground would be perhaps a good solution.
I would have to agree with that. We have certain facts in front of us, and we have other variables in front of us that we have to consider. And given the circumstances, we don't know 100% with certainty if it is going to be something that he was either fallacious or he was actually being taken advantage of, and his identity was indeed taken. We don't know that. We cannot conclude that to its entirety 100%. So I think it would be a good idea that perhaps we give them a portion, since this is a 50-50, maybe a 50% would be ideal, given that we don't know what it is. If we were to consider that, then according to the 50-50, that would be 904 with 99 cents according to the entirety. But this is where you want to consider now, if he had the Proto J and he had the other one, then we would actually subtract that, which means he will get a less portion. So if we were to do, let me just do this real time with you guys so that you guys are following me. So if he said that, so right now the total is 1809 with 99 cents. If we were to divide that in half, it'll be 904 with 99 cents. But if we were to reduce the 104 plus the 147 plus the 261, because those are his vehicles, I would think that would probably be the best outcome. So if we have 904.99 minus 104 with 69 cents minus 147 with 87 cents minus the 261 with 42 cents, it'll total to 391 with 1 cent. So it'll be, for lack of a better term, I don't want to say rough justice, but it's like we don't know exactly what occurred, and we would probably have to take into consideration that not everything matched up like he stated. Unfortunately, the addresses did not align. Certainly, Alder Douglas's concerns were with regards to the accuracy and with the fact that you have so many vehicles and not catching it until you got booted is a little bit of a concern, with Alder Santiago's extensive experience within the board and everybody's observations. I think if the committee would be in agreement that maybe a total of 391 with 1 cent would be ideal, and probably rounding it off to 400 would probably be the best case, given the fact that we also don't have a receipt for his citations. If he paid over $500 and he was certainly wanting to get some reimbursement, at least we could have had a receipt of the citation or a copy of the citation or a copy of the payment that he made for consideration. So unfortunately, I can't consider that at this time. Don.
Yeah, the board's practice has been not to touch anything with the citations, because that has to go through traffic and parking, and that's a whole different ballgame.
Duly noted.
I was going to say that.
Duly noted. So having said that, I would entertain any motions before we continue. Does anybody else have would like to speak?
I have
and
my
have an
hand.
opportunity? Yes, Alder Douglas. I apologize.
So, yeah, I'm sorry. So thank you, Mr. Chair. So if I don't know if you want to pull the police report back up,
Certainly.
but I believe it did state that the policeman could not conclude the investigation as far as submitting it as a legal and a noted complaint, I believe. Let's see.
So if you look at the last paragraph right over here, it says that Marcano was unable to provide me with any further information on the vehicles and exactly how much was owed in taxes. I logged the document into the New Haven Police Department property room as evidence. Marcano was also unable to provide me with any possible suspects at this time. Marcano was issued a case number, and this report will be forwarded to the Financial Crimes Unit for further investigation.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. All right. But
so I don't know if there's any additional things that you want to point out here, Alder Douglas. Anything additional that you think is relevant that we should be considering?
No, but I will take your consideration of what you just put out on the table about the partial payment, I would go along with that. So,
Okay.
duly noted.
So I appreciate that, Alder. I see Alder Roth's hand up.
Oh, I think I just hadn't taken it down from before, but if there's
Okay.
not already an official motion, I move that we grant $400, rounding it out to that, or the 390, 400, which would be subtracting out the cars that were his and dividing it in half.
Do I hear a
Second. Second.
Okay. So the motion is, per Alder Roth's recommendation, to only provide him up to $400 after the calculations, and it was seconded by Alder Douglas. Discussion. Alder Santiago.
Well, I was going to be a lot nicer, even though I was the one that was more critical. I was going to say 50%. And even though, like I said, I was going to be more nicer to him, even though I was the one, the critical one, because we actually do not know if it's really true or not. And he did pay 1,800, but if the emotion's there, you know, I'm just, that was my comment. I was going to be a lot nicer. I was going to say 50%.
I appreciate your comments, Alder Santiago. We can certainly, I'm also able to entertain a friendly amendment if your colleague is willing to do so. So if you want to suggest something, Alder Santiago, to your colleague, and maybe she wants to entertain a friendly amendment.
I mean, if she's willing to entertain it,
Just go ahead, state it. What say you?
Well, I I like to do a friendly motion.
Friendly
amendment. I was gonna say to do like you said before, since it's 50-50, I'll do a 50%, which is 900, 905, 904, 50, or 905, and that should be the 50%.
So Alder, before, so do I hear a second before if not, the friendly amendment will die on the floor. So I hear no second, so your friendly amendment did not pass. But I want to say that I think you and I have the same thought process, and so did Alder Roth. We do want to give him 90%, 50%, but after the 50% minus what he paid that he needed to pay, it is 391.
Yeah.
And then the 391, we rounded up to 400 just to say even.
Okay.
So indeed, we are giving him back 50% that equates to 400.
I have to apologize. I stepped out for 1 second.
No worries.
I
No
didn't
worries.
hear you. Sorry, Alder Roth.
No. It's okay. It's
I'm on
just a
board.
point of clarification. Perfect. So without further ado, if nobody else, I would like to allow anybody to speak who hasn't spoken. Alder Douglas? Alder Singh? Alder?
Mr. Chair, I'm fine with that. Thank you.
Alder Clybourne?
I had a different, altogether something different for me. So.
Okay. Alder Ortiz? Or Alder Furlow? If there's if there's nothing further to add, if you are in agreement with the motion on the table that was seconded regarding reimbursing Mr. Marcano a total of $400, please indicate it by saying aye.
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 If you do not, indicate it with a nay. If you're abstaining, you can do so now. Okay, so one abstention. The ayes have it. The motion has been approved to pay back Mr. Marcano a total of $400. And once he reaches out to Don tomorrow, he will certainly be informed of the decision. Now, Don, given that we have now approved this, we can either submit it as what, as UC, or what do we do? First reading, second reading?
Well, it normally goes to first reading in July, second reading in August. If you wish to do a UC, you can do that also.
So I'll entertain anything that the committee wants to do. We can do UC or first reading.
I would say UC, give him his money.
Okay, so I'll definitely consider that. So Don, I'll certainly would like for this to be discharged to the board as a UC item, please. And then having said that, I don't think there's any more motions needed to be done because the second item was a pretty much a workshop. And so it doesn't need to be moved or seconded because it was just an informative session for us to receive. So at this point, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
It was moved in second, no discussion needed. Please indicate it by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The ayes have it. I hereby conclude this meeting. Everybody be safe, be well. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Majority Leader, have safe travels, and everybody else, I'll see you guys next meeting.
God bless
Thank you,
everybody.
Al.
Be
Thank you,
safe.
Don.
Thank you.
God bless.
Mr. Chair, Mr.